Previously on the Leaky Bucket Podcast. Today, we're talking all about discounts. It feels good when we get a discount. Yeah, it feels good. We are scared they won't sign up without it. The customer asked, and we didn't know how to say no. This needs addressing. As business owners, we're taking a lot of risk. And that started my passion for moving business owners from surviving to thriving. This doesn't apply to me. I give discounts, but I'm okay. This has got to change. And it's got to change right now. Here's some tips to help you overcome. You may have taught the customer, right, that they don't need to value what you say. Are you doing the same? You are in control. You've just halved your profit. Ow. Hi there, and welcome to the Leaky Bucket Podcast. I'm your host, Ian Morgan, and this is the financial performance podcast for entrepreneurs looking to get a better understanding of their numbers, to plug the leaks in their business, and to move from surviving to thriving.
Thank you for joining us on the Leaky Bucket Podcast. Today I'm going to be asking Ian some questions about financial control.
Thanks, Liv, for having me. Let's get going.
So an important aspect and one of your main philosophies is financial control, but it's quite a loose term. What do you actually mean by that?
I think realistically we mean that so many businesses and business owners lack up-to-date and accurate financial information. And financial control for us is literally that, having that information so it's up to date, it's as accurate as can reasonably be, to give the option of making better decisions, and having, I suppose the key concept of a business is to be able to make money. And so then to have financial control so you can actually see where the business performance is at from a financial perspective, you've just got a better understanding.
Yeah. And what are some people's misconceptions with it? Maybe when they have minimal understanding of it, what do they kind of think it is?
Over the phrase of financial control?
Yeah, and then maybe what you actually have to do to get
okay.
it.
I think misconceptions of the phrase is that you just know where your money's at. So it's in this bank account and it's going to be going here, then, and there. It's more sort of cash flow forecasting, I suppose, that people view as financial control. The challenges, I think, with it is whilst bookkeeping is a simple term and people view it as a simple role, the concept of bookkeeping is actually fairly complex. The understanding that every entry has another side to it in order for it to balance.
Yeah.
That people then think that it's easy and don't know how to test that they do have financial control. And because they don't know how to test it and they don't understand it, they assume the fact that somebody's doing it that's qualified and says they can do it means that they will have financial control.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's only evident by the types of clients who then come to work with us, how lacking that financial control is, and the fact that it typically takes 3 to 6 months to establish financial control. It's not a quick and easy job to do.
So why is it so crucial to running a business to have that under control?
Because
that sounds like such a straightforward question, but
no, it's a good question in terms of, I think it's easy for everybody to just go, oh yeah, but the finances are fine. I've got a deeper why or a meaning why I'm running my business. But realistically, the purpose of running the business is to make money.
Yeah.
The one thing that's key about a business owner's business is it's the only business in the world that's designed to give them the life that they want to lead. And whether we like it or not, every business is here to make money. If you're not, you'd be a charity. Financial control is there to, one, check that that's actually happening, but most importantly, that there will be moments where there'll be an emotional reaction from the client because of something that's going on, whether it's inside or outside of their control.
Yeah.
And you could have thought your business was fine yesterday, but you wake up today, something happens that now all of a sudden there's an emotional reaction and you go, oh my God, my business is terrible. Having financial control means that actually we can bring it back and go, what's the point of a business? It's to make money. It was making money yesterday. How can everything be disastrously wrong in one day?
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's look at the up-to-date information. If, like the majority of businesses, the information is only up to date because there's a VAT return to file, the information potentially is 3 months out of date.
Yeah.
It's not very reassuring for a business owner to hear to go, well, you were fine 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Because 3 months is a very long time.
Yeah.
A lot could undo in 3 months. Whereas in our situation, financial control, doing things every day, keeping things up to date, worst case scenario is it's a Monday and it hasn't been updated since Friday. Can your business collapse over a weekend? Possibly, but it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So we can actually dive in and go, actually I had a great example the other day with a client who just went, I've normally got tens of thousands of pounds in my business account. I've suddenly only got 7.
Yeah.
Oh my God, help. I don't know where the money's gone.
Yeah.
Because that financial information was up to date, that was sent, I think it was 5 o'clock on the Thursday. On the 5 o'clock, on the Thursday. By the Friday, I was able to message him with some rough answers and go, this is why.
Yeah.
And he was able to go into the weekend and relax, as opposed to going in potentially in a massive panic.
Yeah.
And possibly make some crazy decisions that he wouldn't make with a stable mind.
Yeah.
We're able to bring back that stable mind. And that's because of financial control.
So it's not all really, not tactical, but it is also about letting go of that almost and saying, I need help.
Yeah, I think.
Like, are there cultural aspects to financial control within a business as well as just doing the bookkeeping and doing the numbers?
Yes. I think there's a mindset issue, first of all.
Yeah.
Which is,
that's the word.
yeah, it's that you can't, like if you're just talking about your household finances, you can manage that. You know, you've probably got 1, maybe 2 sources of income. There's only a number of things that you could be spending on, usually a house, children if you've got them, food, so on. That if you're in a business, as it starts to grow and you've got numerous customers, then actually you get to the point where you can't always know everything that's going on. You might have different costs and things that are throwing up. You're making multiple different decisions. You're managing staff. Yeah, it's really, really hard to keep control of that. And the danger is that you think you've got control of it because you know what's going on in your mind, and that you can go into your bank account at any point and go, yeah, but there's my money. But that doesn't tell you where your money's been going or where it's potentially likely to go in the future.
Yeah.
And the more accurate that information is from the past, the more accurate we can predict the future. Even if it's, I suppose another aspect, if it's old as well, that is a struggle for predicting the future. So it comes back to the same problem. So it has to be accurate information that's up to date.
Yeah.
And the mindset has to be, I can't do it on my own, and I can't think I know it just from looking at the bank account, because there's a real danger from that.
Yeah. So what's the journey? What are kind of the steps that we enforce for our clients to help them with this?
Yeah, so there's quite a huge journey we go through. I think there's about 40 steps within it in order to achieve financial control. So I won't bore you and go through every single one. But fundamentally, the aspect is there an accounting platform that can bring all this information together in a way that makes it readable? We use Xero, obviously, to do that. Then is there a method of getting the information in quickly and easily? So that should be a connected bank account, and that should be all bank accounts that belong to the business. So it's no use just connecting the current account if you've then also got a separate savings account, 2 or 3 credit cards. Everything has to be connected because we need to be able to get that true overall picture. And then we have to test that the balances and everything correct, and we have to look for the accuracy and the quality of the data. So one of the first things we do is go back and look at historical information. How consistent has the process been? How accurate is that information and data? And we've got tools that help us with that, but also skills and experience. And then we're working to the point where we reduce and tick off a number of these checkpoints to go, all of these things are happening and everything's kept up to date regularly, because you don't know where one of those firefighting moments is going to come.
Yeah.
And so it's no good going, yeah, but I'll sort that next week to get myself up to date. Because what if the big firefighting moment happens within that next week?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're kicking yourself and go, oh, it was just a few invoices I had to upload to get it sorted. And now we're out by £10,000, but I'm worried because I've only got £10,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
Well, what if that £10,000 is already gone, but we haven't sorted it yet and we don't know? So it's a number of key checkpoints, ironing out historical creases and issues to make everything clear, and then making sure that there's a process to keep everything up to date and accurate going forward.
Do you think some people naturally just struggle with keeping on top of it?
Yeah, I think probably everybody as a business owner, because finances don't jump out of you that they're gonna bite you now. If the bank account's fine, then you you've got this false sense check to go, well, everything's okay. I've got 50 grand in the bank. There's no problem. But unless you take that moment to stop and go, hang on, we haven't accounted for the credit card, which I've spent £20,000 on. I've got wages next week for 25,000. I've got that supplier to pay for 10. Actually, that's more than 50,000.
Yeah.
So it's so easy just to overlook it.
Yeah.
Because there's always other problems and things that are more they're more attention grabbing. So maybe there's a complaint from a customer, or there's a tight deadline to meet, or there's this wonderful new marketing activity you can do that's really interesting. And all of those are far more interesting than going and analyzing some numbers or uploading some documents or finding that receipt from Starbucks last week or whatever it was.
Yeah. Do you think that's one of the potential barriers of it then? Is people just kind of think it's almost simple, like that's the basis of what you're kind of doing?
Yes.
Do you think people overlook it and that's one of the potential barriers, or what are the
I think you're right, that the most crucial thing I think to any business is you need to do the basics well. But you can easily be led into a false sense of security that if you're able to do all these high level amazing things, the basics must already be taken care of themselves, or they must already be happening. But I think it's more often than not, if you had like almost a staircase and there's 10 steps, you've got loads of people doing step 10, 9, 8, but very little of step 1, 2, and 3 have been covered. Like how many businesses are operating that don't have basic processes in place for even the most simple of tasks? And therefore, I think it's so easy just to go, oh, bookkeeping, that's simple. It's one of the first things, you just get somebody to do it. Oh, my mum's retired, she can have a go. And it's, if you look at the larger businesses that there are in the world, the level of financial reporting and the heaviness that's in their finance departments is huge. The finance directors at large companies are probably the most highly paid people, apart from directors and maybe salespeople. But salespeople have to hit targets and earn commission to do that. And the reason is because finance is so important, because that business is there to make money. And that's why we also have so stringent financial reporting for those. They have to be audited, they have to publicize accounts and so on. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a finance process that stands up to the scrutiny of a public company, but you need to be able to know when times get hard and money gets difficult. You need to know that you can come back to the financial data and understand what's going on, even if you don't understand the technicalities of how it got like it is, and how it's presented in that way. And so I think, the very fact that it's seen as so basic and simple.
So the trench work, isn't it?
Gets overlooked.
And what are the benefits of a business having good financial control? I know you've gone over it a little bit, but if you were going to kind of
Yeah. The benefits actually come back to everywhere. Like the number of businesses who are just saying, oh, actually, if I achieve this, then this will happen. So if we make more money, then we'll hire better staff. If we're making more money, then we'll get rid of all those horrible clients that we hate working with. If we make more money, then we'll make the office a nicer place to work. But the if needs to be removed, and it needs to become, how are we actually doing that? Because if it's just like, well, if it happens, you have to almost bake financial performance into the whole recipe of a business. And if you can't be making decisions because they benefit the organization as a whole, then what's the point? Like, you can't have this almost mentality, if you like, from like the team of being, oh, the owners are okay because they earn loads of money and that's great. Like, it needs to be, actually, if we all help the business to be more successful, everybody wins.
Be a trickle down effect. Yeah.
That what's the reason why we can't be paying beyond market rate for any role? Because the business is operating beyond market rate. And actually people want to work with us because, like, I suppose even within accounting, right, there's an embarrassment to go, can you be an accountant that makes profit? But then people want to come to you for financial advice. If you can't make profit and cash in your own business as an accountancy business, why would anybody want to work with you? Yes, so it's, money is such a problem, particularly within the UK, that it's like almost embarrassing to talk about money and to talk about what you earn. And so nobody mentions it. And yet actually everybody's trying to earn it. So I think it's fundamental. It's key, and it needs to be front and center at all times. It's almost like a three-pronged attack. Like, is this decision right for our customers? Is this decision right for our team? And does this decision make money? And if you can't tick all three, probably not a decision you should be making.
And do you have a personal experience where it would have come in useful, or where it has come in use?
Yeah, I think we've been guilty ourselves of not practicing what we preach. For many years we were telling people, like, you should have cash flow forecasts, you should have business plans, you should understand and have that financial control in place. And yet we probably only did our bookkeeping once a month. And then there are situations, I can't remember something specific, there certainly have been a number of situations that something crops up. You have this emotional reaction, so it could be a challenge with a member of the staff, it could be a major client leaves, something like that, or the natural progressing of business. And yet straight away we're put to like, oh my God, that's it, it's doomsday, panic, everything's over. And then actually by having financial control in place, we go, hang on, we have a plan, we have a financial plan, and now actually we have some results. So by having those results, we can now go back to them, look and go, has anything major really changed? It's just one small change to the whole process and system. Financial control's there. We will be okay. And actually the fact that we'll be okay is good. And now we can look forward and move to the future. As opposed to almost being dragged to, you can get dragged to, we talk about obviously having ownership, accountability and responsibility versus blame, excuses and denial. These emotional challenges drag you to the blame, the excuses and the denial. And that's okay, but how do you get back out of that? And financial control
is one way.
It's
like the numbers, isn't it? It's like that.
Whereas numbers are logical. Like, you can't be creative with numbers. Like, that's dangerous and it's also illegal. So actually, if the numbers are solid, then actually you can come back to and go, okay, but how does that work versus my plan? I can see where I'm at. I'm only a little bit off track. Now let's just make some adjustments and move more forward.
Well, thank you so much for answering my questions. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Anything else you think people should know about financial control?
No, I think just don't underestimate the bookkeeping. I think everybody's too quick to put somebody who's prepared to have a go into doing the bookkeeping, and it's the essential elements.
And it is complex. Like I'm learning at the moment, it's complex.
but it's seen as a low grade, low level job. There's so many people who are like, I'm only a bookkeeper. But we try and make sure everybody here knows that the bookkeeping's the fundamentals. That actually, if the bookkeeping can't work, everything else we do doesn't work. So how do you protect that? How do you make it high quality, accurate, and up to date? And if the person that you're appointing or putting in place to do that is just having a go, you're just asking for trouble.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Leaky Bucket Podcast. I'd love it if you could help spread the message by clicking subscribe and leaving a review. Also, please do reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know your thoughts on this episode. You can also find more info and links in the show notes below. See you next time. Coming next week on the Leaky Bucket Podcast. I'm running a multi-six-figure business, and I don't know what any of it means. I'm emotionally connected. Yeah, I like them, I care about them, I want them to do well. I don't want them to they have no income. So I'll just say it's okay, because I don't really understand. Or you're in danger that what you're continuing to do is make bad decisions, and you just don't know. And so how do you bring everybody up to the standards that you expect? So financial clarity wise, I think it is that acceptance. It's okay to not be okay. Everybody that's running a business that's trying to grow is going to a painful point that they've never been to before, and they don't 100% know what they're doing. Because if you don't understand, we're not doing our job. Actually, you don't need to understand how we do it, but you do need to understand why.